Morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of Bob and Frank, the fastest growing hockey podcast going. And another special guest today, friend of the show, long time student of the show, friend of the show, Adam Jakopin. Welcome to the pod. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, fellas. Thank you, guys. It's good to see you guys, following your passions with just different ways of talking about hockey and helping people understand the game and, try to benefit from learning from each other ultimately, right? Yeah, it's important.
100%. Well said.
Yeah, well said. What a compliment. Holy smoke.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Those of you who don't know, we were lucky enough to work with Adam working at Speed Hockey Development. He came there for an off season of training. Got you ready for the pro ranks out there. Tell us a little bit about your experience, training as a player, both in the gym and on the ice.
I feel that 1 month at Speed in July was just a really eye-opening experience as to what's really necessary to just survive if you're trying to make pro hockey, high-end junior hockey. There's guys making serious, decisions that are impacting their game, and it's helping them make the next level. Ultimately, the decisions that you're making in your spare time, how are you utilizing, every hour of the day to get better as a hockey player? Like you're seeing guys that are making those decisions, and that's what you need to be around. You need to be around that culture to just light a little fire inside yourself to be like, this is what I need to be doing. If it's sprinting at 7 a.m, if it's doing a yoga class at 11 o'clock and then going on the ice at 3, that's what it takes, especially if you're trying to catch up to other people who've been putting the work in longer than you. So wow. Speed was such a great experience for me, and it's definitely something I've been able to, share with other kids that this is what other people are doing. Like, this is what you need to be doing. So Speed was great for me. And kind of just helped me really get prepared for, my first pro camp, which would have been in Slovenia in the Alps Hockey League. Speed was great. Definitely met a great coach, an amazing person. And, Spenny, I definitely was looking up to him back then as I am now. And what a great guy.
I love it.
How about the 7 a.m. sessions? You need a glue guy. You need an energy guy. You definitely brought it every day. I'd say one thing I remember was the afterburners and the sprints. Maybe not Jako, maybe not the fastest out of the gate, but the afterburners and those sprints just hunting guys down. I
love it.
Oh, that was incredible. But anyways, a little bit about your playing career. GTHL alumni, not a big deal.
No big
club
deal.
hockey, playing in Lindenwood University.
Yeah.
Now part of the NCAA. Is that correct?
Yeah, Lindenwood definitely has a good program. Kind of in a place where I feel like minor hockey's kind of taking off in St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis minor hockey, because a lot of those Blues guys, they stayed put and they have kids playing hockey there, and they're growing the game. They won the cup in 2019. Like, I love that town. It's such a blue collar town. Like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. I love those. And again, Craig Berube, like, we'll touch on that later, but like, that guy brought a cup to St. Louis. Obviously here in Toronto, we're hoping for that. Yeah. So yeah.
I heard exactly what you're saying, that a lot of guys hung back, raising their families and building the hockey programs in the communities out there. And I've seen it in the KSL. St. Louis sends a team, and they have some good programs. Absolutely.
Nice.
But yeah, minor hockey. It's different, right? And you guys talk about this all the time, but like when I was 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, like all I did was my team practice. And I grew up playing North Toronto, right? Team practices, games, house league select, whatever the heck it was. But when it got, and again, at the same time, had a big driveway, always on my driveway, whatever it was, getting reps with it, whatever, orange ball or a puck shooting, destroying my garage door. Anyway,
couple broken.
But again, as soon as that rink froze, man, I was walking up the street to Ledbury Park Arena. A lot of kids, I share this with kids all the time because it's the same thing for them. They grew up playing North Toronto, Avenue North, wherever you live. Like, there's outdoor rinks available to you. I was going to Otter Creek. That's another one. Like, Always there,
Shout out
always
Otter
there,
Creek.
always there. That was my skill development. Those were my sessions. You know, trying to play with kids older than me. You know, maybe there's kids that aren't that good, and you're the kid dangling the little pylon, right? So it's like those were my reps. That was my cognitive training. You know, like so. I don't know. That's how I grew up. That's how I played AAA. You know, at 9 years old, the Wexford Raiders at the now Toronto Titans. Right, my first 2 years were AAA.
You got to be. What year are you born?
94.
Oh, so you and I are the same year because I played Wexford as well in the last year they existed because now they're the Titans.
Yeah. So, but again, like that's how I grew up playing the game. Really quickly. So U10, U11, AAA. By U14, I was playing single A. A lot of hazing, bullying. Went to school with kids that were on my team, and they were not nice to me. That's that. Like I stopped loving the game. Faked injury. Tried to break my equipment. I tell parents this all the time. Like it was horrific. I didn't want to go to the ring. Yeah. Anyways, went down to single A. By grade 9, I'm playing single A. By grade 12, I make the Nats.
What a journey.
You know, grade 9, grade 10, I got on a crappy AA team, Westmall Lightning. Had a couple good years, made some great friends, loved going to the rink, started going to the gym, started going to Good Life Fitness, biking to the gym on my own, you know, because you could get a free membership as a kid, right? So anyways, whatever.
Animal.
Grade 12, Brett Puncher gives me a chance. What a coach to team up with for U18 AAA on the Nats, man. So
wow, what a story.
So you're telling me ODR rips at Otter Creek, Good Life membership, boom, you make AAA in grade 12, play
on top of the world,
play college hockey, play pro hockey.
Something like that.
Stamp your ticket.
Something like that.
Tell me what years you played single A, what age you were?
It would have been I was grade 8 and grade 9.
I love that. What a story that is to any kids we coach now. You want to go pro, you could be single A at grade 9, grade 8.
There's a lot of kids that are playing like AA in grade 11.
Yep.
And then maybe by grade 12 they just start flourishing. You never know. There's a lot of those examples, and those will never stop.
Yep.
Those examples will never stop. I feel like, and again, I'm coming from a family where I wasn't even doing any. I wasn't in HP. I wasn't doing extra development. Like this is all.
No one was doing HP back then, except for the McDavids of the world.
Yeah. No, the Subans of the world. So yeah, just like I'm just like a blue collar kid that just figured it out. Like my dad gave me an opportunity in some way, right? So I'm really grateful for that. But yeah, like it's not easy, right? Like you need the right people around you. You need the right voices around you. You know, guys like Dan Rea. Dan Rea's gotta shout that guy out.
We
like
gotta get him on the pod.
Yeah,
that guy.
He's next.
You know, he gave me an opportunity in terms of just getting better and exposing me to some people that could help me get to the next level. And ultimately, he even put like a video together, a montage of like whatever I was doing on the ice, and sent it to the coaches in Slovenia.
No way.
You know, like he did
what
that.
A beauty.
Yeah, like in his spare time. You know, Dan could have been running sessions, making money, but he was helping me. So
what a guy.
That's an example right there. And now it's so cool to see him at the rink. You know, he's coaching China.
Yeah.
And having
saw
fun
him the other night.
Yeah, I bumped into him running one of his practices. Love to see it.
Yeah.
I didn't get to say hi, but I saw him 2 nights ago. I watched the Stony Creek Sabres junior girls team play against U22 girls play against Dan Rea's team, China.
Hey, shout out another guy, Kevin Curto, thinking about getting better. Like, man, talk about getting exposed. It was Hyperfit back then, Scarborough Canlan, unbelievable players on the ice. Like the Foodie brothers would be there, Akil Thomas, Jack McBain. Like I got to be on the ice with these guys, and it pushed me to be better. Like I was like, damn, look at these kids. You know, we'd be on the ice, and then we'd be, you know, pushing sleds after in the parking lot there. Nothing fancy, man. Just boots on the ground. Like these kids were paving the way for anyone around them, honestly.
Love it.
Yeah, that was incredible.
You just need some coaches like that, in your life. That's such a game changer. Some people who really care can make a big difference.
It was amazing, man. It was amazing.
Yeah, the environment's huge for development.
Yeah.
And so it was those years that you're kind of talking about that kind of pushed you being able to to go back to the motherland, play pro hockey in Slovenia, and kind of stay with some family out there? That must have been an experience.
So that was 2018 August and September. So I did a whole, was like a 3 or 4 week camp. You know, you're on the ice twice, you're off the ice twice, so 4 sessions a day for like 4 to 5 days.
Just dying.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Trying to survive.
Like what's interesting is like I remember I felt like I was like doing pretty good at the beginning, the first couple of weeks, and the coach was like, "Oh, were you on the ice a lot this summer?" I'm like, yeah, you know, like, oh yeah, of course. And the reason he was asking me is because he knew his guys weren't on the ice that much, and they were going to start out. They were going to start like,
oh wow,
and they did, sure as shit. Like these guys were getting better every week because they take time off in the summers,
and then they were getting their hands back dialed and their lungs back under them.
Like 1 week you're winning races, 1 week you're not. You know?
There's a hot topic, eh? So you as you know, team first, we got to ask you about that. But before we do, you know, let's just say all 3 of us do a lot of development with kids. We do summer development. What are your thoughts on the 2 camps of people who train all summer and don't, and the value of it at a certain age or not? Is there a year where everyone needs to do it, or can you go all the way to Slovenian Pro and take the summer off?
It's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know. It depends on how that player feels. I feel like how much they're doing during the season.
Mm-hmm.
There's that. And then I feel like ultimately what their goals are in the off season. You know, there's players that maybe they're trying to get faster this off season. So maybe they're going to put more time towards whatever that type of training is. Maybe there's players that, you know, they got to work on receiving passes still and shooting and scoring and moving towards the net and shooting, receiving a pass and scoring. Like I feel like every kid has a bit of a different, you know, agenda for what's necessary. But ultimately I feel like if you are trying to make the next level, whether that be single A to double A or double A to triple A, you got to be on the ice at least like twice. I would say like twice a week in the summer to not like lose any sort of progress that you've made. You'd hate to lose progress.
Right.
If anything, if you could just maintain.
Mm-hmm.
Summer, it depends who you are though, right? You know,
sure.
I think it's personal.
It is personal. Yeah, I guess there's different scenarios. Some kids might play a different sport in the summer, and that might be just as valuable for them. And then once you get older, like you said, maybe you're taking most of your summer and trying to get faster. You're doing some off ice stuff, right? That's a good thought.
Yeah, honestly, right? Because everyone's trying to do something different in terms of their development.
Yeah.
Tell us about Team First.
Okay.
Yeah, where can I get one of those hoodies? Is there an online store?
It should be.
Looks good, buddy.
Should
it's a great name. Great
it looks
logo.
clean. It looks clean.
Shout out to Gitch. Love those guys. A lot of people go there. Yeah, you know what? Well, in terms of hockey coaching, so I'm 25. I was 25, and Slovenia didn't work out, and I came home and I was living at home for a bit. But then I ended up going back to play in England. I went to Chelmsford. I went to England, Slovenia. But in that time of coming home, I got exposed to coaching, and I was actually coaching. I ended up coaching a lot of kids. I was like, wow, wasn't like trying to get into this. Just kind of naturally came into it in terms of like running a skills session, maybe 4 kids on like a small surface.
Yep.
Oh, Emery Village.
You know what? I think, and also what helped me do this is because I went to speed, because I was exposed to a bunch of different variations of doing hockey. Like I was able to run a session. Okay, great. So I got exposed to coaching. So when I went back to Chelmsford to play my last year before COVID, March 2020, that's why it all ended. I knew I wanted to coach hockey already. So
wow.
Yeah, but technically first year coaching hockey would be 2021. I was coaching North York Rangers 07. So it would have been U15. And I was coaching a single A team. I had 2 teams. And I think about it too. I had a third team. They were just like little kids, like maybe U7, Goulding Park, you know, I don't even know, cross ice games, eh?
Yeah. The half ice.
Just not even half. I don't even know if that's half ice.
Right. Yeah.
One zone, eh? One zone.
One zone.
So
make up your own rules to the game.
that's where it started. That's where coaching started. Ultimately, I was working for other people.
Yep.
I was just getting into coaching. I had no idea what I was doing. And I was telling someone this the other day, like, you don't just go to like Humber College and get like a coaching degree. There's no like,
Right.
you don't go somewhere. You can't generally maybe go somewhere and learn how to coach unless you are present on the ice and trying to learn from other people. If you're smart, you're associating yourself with people that do this for a living, and you are just trying to pick up everything you can. Like Mike Babcock says, rob and do. Like, you got to find ideas and implement it in your own ideas.
Yeah.
Ultimately, or if you're not growing, you're dying. So
you got to think there's going to probably be more like Ice Hockey Systems is doing their conferences and events. Coaches Site doing their events, trying to get coaches together, kind of trying to educate. But yeah, it's funny you say that. You can't go out and get a degree, but it's there's more and more education coming out for it. That's for sure.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, you definitely can't get a degree for this, because the random things the random hurdles that we overcome, you can't learn that in class. So this is a hands-on type of thing, and I'm in year 4. I'm in year 4 right now, and like, Team First would not be here at the beginning. You know, like, it took people to believe in me for me to believe in myself. If I'm honest with you, like, you get one kid that wants to be on the ice with you, and next you're splitting ice with somebody. Next thing you know, you're buying your own ice, and you got kids on the ice, and you're helping people get better. But really, what it was is I identified what I want to teach.
Yeah,
which is defense classes. That's the biggest thing that I focus on for my development. Ultimately, I do work with every position, but defense is an area that I really am honing in on in terms of the kids that I train.
Good for you.
I mean,
I love having a specialization like that.
Yeah, and it took me to just be honest with myself as what I feel I'm best at, and focus on that, and just try to get better at that. And you know what? I'm lucky that I've met certain kids. I've coached certain teams, developed certain relationships that, there's kids at almost like a lot of different ages where, I know a certain player, and, a kid like Simon Wang, who's right now his mid-season draft review is, I believe, 32nd by Bob McKenzie.
I saw that.
That's unbelievable. Simon is such a great kid. Like, he even comes on the ice with me to help the little kids.
Nice.
In the drill. Yeah, he's a coach too. Simon's a coach. And something really amazing too, a great story, was I went to go watch Simon play maybe November. And at that time, like, there was a lot of eyes on him. I think people were just realizing. And every NHL team was there to watch him.
Come on.
Yeah. And because they signed in, I found out through his agent at the game. And I sat beside one guy, asked him, who are you here to watch?
Yeah.
He said Simon. And I got to tell him, Simon, he's helping me with the kids. He's a good coach. He's a good guy.
That's awesome. That's
any
awesome.
Insight as to how he's kind of dealing with having all those eyes on him?
Say that again.
Simon dealing with the pressure of having so many scouts come to watch him at junior games back in the fall. I'm sure lots of people would like to learn how you can manage that.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like he's composed, eh? That's the noise outside doesn't really factor in on his game.
Yeah, good for him.
Good for him.
Like, he's got the puck on his stick, and he's still making simple decisions. He's making the right decision at the right time. He's not trying to do too much. Especially when that barn was packed, it was pretty impressive. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, for sure. You got to be feeling that when
you look left. You look to your left. You see a guy with a New Jersey Devils jacket on. You go to the snack bar. You see an Anaheim jacket on. It's like, what is this?
I came out once with Spencer, and he was skating with Simon, and he's very impressive. I heard that he was, like, I forget where I heard this, probably on Instagram, that, there was 26 of 30 NHL teams at this one game in Nobleton or something, watching him play in junior.
Yeah, I don't know. I was at a game.
There.
I don't know. I was at a game, and that's where his home rink is, and that might have been it. But it was told. I didn't ask. It was said to me from one of his advisors that, like, every team is here. But
that's wild.
Regardless, it was nuts. Yeah.
When I heard that, I thought, that's amazing. But I thought, little embellishment. It can't be every team. And then to hear you say that, wow, I think,
Yeah,
boom, no eyewitness.
I know. And I mean, it's cool that the kids can now go back and forth between the games. I think that's going to help Simon's development so much. It's no different than like any player that plays, let's say AAA to OHL. Let's say they go to one skate where they're the best guy, and they're able to get that confidence, just a bit more confidence. They're with the puck, they're trying to make plays, but then they go to their real deal, and their game's a bit different.
Mm-hmm.
But when they go back and forth, they're able to do things maybe they weren't 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Maybe just that extra speed, that extra jump. They weren't seeing it before, now they are.
Yep.
What do you guys think about that? How players can go back and forth now, OHL, Junior A?
Yeah, sorry, is Simon with Oshawa or is he?
Yeah, he's played like at least 5 games.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I see him. He's got 8 games there.
8 games.
Yeah, it's geez, completely different ball game. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to OHL as a league in terms of like the overagers. Like our one, you go to the OJ, you're essentially trying to develop to get to the OHL. You're in the OHL, you get your scholarship. Do you now leave your OHL team, or like are you trying to ride it out to win championships in the OHL? Or do you leave when you're 19 and lose your last year or last 2 years of the OHL to go and start playing in NCAA? That's going to kind of change how the leagues run, because all the teams that are winning OHL, Q, WHL championships are usually beefed up with some vet players. Those are the ones that are going to the Memorial Cup. So are those top guys going to be leaving the league and going to play NCAA? That kind of changes that up. And then at the same time, OJHL, are you still going to be able to see, or just junior as a whole, are you going to see as many commits? Are you still going to see players hang around because they want top line minutes in junior league, or do they want to go and play third, fourth line in the OHL or the Q or the W? It's going to be, it's a lot to think about.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the biggest thing that everyone has in common is everyone has a different situation with what they're doing.
Yeah.
There's definitely going to be kids that are committed to schools, but they're not ready. They're not ready to make the jump to NCAA.
Yeah.
You know, then there's going to be kids that maybe they're ready at 18 years old to already, or 19 years old to already dominate in Wisconsin. Like, you know what I mean? It's going to be hard. Or maybe a kid is going to want it maybe he purposely can make the jump, but you're like you're saying, he wants to try to win a Mem Cup with whoever that is. And so I think everyone's going to make a decision based on whatever they want to do. Like, it's just going to be what it is. I don't think we'll see a trend.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it goes back to what we were saying with our off season, that everything is personal. There might be some kids that need to jump to a higher league, and they do kind of what you were talking about with something like a Curdo league. You go and you play in a hockey league with players at a higher level to help with your decision making and help playing at that speed. There's other guys that are very much used to the speed. They're used to their league. They just have to get in shape. Their priority is going to be at the track, in the weight room. I think it's very similar with what league these kids are playing and the way they choose to develop themselves. It's personal.
And you know what?
Different for everyone.
Another thing that I'm thinking about now, because we're talking about playing in leagues in the summer, this was big for me. Shout out Taylor Carnevale Hockey Group. You know, playing out of position in that league, going up against guys like Akil Thomas. Like that was, I'd be playing center. I'm a defenseman. I'd go out there, play center so I could work on my conditioning and time with the puck, and like trying to create offense, like with speed, like going fast, not playing defense in a rocking chair, hanging out in the summer league, like trying to create. So that was something I did. And I tell people to do that all the time. Go play out of position. Yeah. And like Lee Jinman, that guy's an incredible coach. We were talking about this the other day. Like, you know, he tells his forwards, like in the summer, just one tournament, go play defense. Just go figure out, go learn that position, go get better at it, see the game from a different standpoint. So, but again, sorry, but again, Taylor Carnevale Hockey Group, playing out of position, getting exposed to incredible players. You line up against a draw with someone who's wearing a visor, you're gonna take this a bit more serious, maybe. You never know.
Love it. No, I think you're bang on though. Getting those reps, huge for your development.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know
that's only once a week.
Yeah,
and then maybe be on the ice 2 other times. So maybe three to 4 times a week at least.
I think my first time on a bench coaching as an assistant, as you often do, you get thrown the defense as an assistant coach. And for me, that was pretty awesome, actually, because I'm not a defenseman, or I wasn't a defenseman. So getting to coach the D was really good for me. So not only play different positions, but for coaches, if you can focus on a different position, it really opened my eyes to the game, to just be learning what defensemen do and what they need. It's different.
I got a tough question for you, Jako. What do you prefer, skill coaching or head/assistant coaching?
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one. It'd be tough if somebody asked me that. I'm not going to answer. You go ahead.
So what would I rather do, skill coaching or head coaching /assistant?
Coaching a team or running team first?
Probably, and you know what? And it's because I want to be with a part of more people's journey. I'd say skill development, because then I'm impacting more people.
100%.
That's definitely, and then ultimately it's hard to being on a team and also impacting careers is tough. And you see that because you're with the kids so much that it's, maybe not everyone's on your team in a way. You see that with teams too. So sometimes when you're helping a player in a different environment, you're able to impact them more.
Sometimes the team environment can be intimidating in different ways.
What I like to think is, first of all, the answer is both. I think all three of us like doing both, right? But what I love about being a development coach or a skill coach or a private coach, whatever you want to call it, is you're just the fun uncle, or you're just the grandparents. Like, you come in there, and if you're on the bench with the team, I don't care what team, what level, you cannot make everyone love you. You just can't. It's can't.
Crazy. It's crazy, but it's what it is.
You've got a responsibility to develop the kids, but you also, depending on the level, you have a responsibility for the team to have success, and that will lead to not everyone being happy. But when you're the development coach, every single kid you train with, they love you, right? So
they should.
And you get to have an unbiased impact on them. So you can have a session with 10 kids or 5 kids or 3 kids. Everyone gets your attention. Everyone gets the same out of you. And it doesn't feel that way always when you're coaching. You got a first line, you got a fourth line in junior. You got a guy who plays first line, first power play, will never get scratched. And you got some young guys in the team that might be sitting in the stands sometime, and you got to tell them, you're not playing tonight, right? So not everyone loves you.
That's a heck of a point. I was going to talk about how it is nice to have some skin in the game and be developing both their skills and prepping to win a game, and then at the same time getting a front row seat to how are they actually performing. Where sometimes when you're a skills coach, you work with a lot of different players, you don't get the full picture of how they're performing on the ice. You might be able to catch a small sample size. You might see some of their highlights. But when you are kind of checking in game by game on the bench, that's a different experience as well.
Yeah, because ultimately there's going to have to be some sort of, unfortunate conversations.
For sure.
Right? Yeah. Like it's just the part of the game. And what's interesting is, like, when I have to address a child about a mistake or an error, I'm never the person to go into that conversation where I'm like, hey, X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 screaming in their face.
Sure.
Like, I address them in like exactly how we're talking now. Like my tone doesn't change, and I've had to tell kids in practice, I'm like, hey, listen, and I've done this with a couple kids. When you're very emotional during the game, high or low, whatever it is, if you come off the ice and you're pissed off or whatever, and I come to talk to you about something, we need to be able to have a conversation. Even when you're pissed off crying. Yeah.
Huge.
You gotta, I'm gonna be like this all the time. And I need you to be approachable so that we can have, so I can just be like, hey, we need to just fix that, just this. And I'll show them on a board. This is what it is,
Yeah. Hollywood over there. Being consistent with communication, would you say that's huge?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And you know what? You got to have the same approach. The approach got to be consistent. The kids got to know what they're getting out of you. I think that's everything right there.
Last couple of questions we have for you. You have quite a bit of minor hockey coaching experience. When it comes to kids that are trying to make your team for next year, what are things that you're looking for? What are things that you're looking for from players to make your team?
I think with evaluating, it's so easy. You said urgency is the one thing that I see, and it's so easy for kids to stand out. Wow, you're in a tryout and the puck gets dumped down the ice and you're forward. Oh my gosh, if you're first to that puck, wow, it's like, who's that?
Boom.
Yeah,
you're first on a back check. Wow, sorry, who's that out there? Like, oh my gosh, if you have 16 of those kids, oh my god, you're gonna win a lot of games. You're gonna be competitive. Get 16 of those. Like that, I'm trying to make a AA team for next year right now. Like that's literally what was going through my head in this tryout. And I saw someone go to a puck. I saw someone forecheck. Like, oh, nice. Yeah. That's great.
So for minor hockey, you feel like essentially skating skills, and then at the same time, that urgent mindset.
Yeah, I think that's
punch your ticket.
That's an easy one right there.
I love it. The compete, the urgency, the speed, the hustle. Boom, stand out right away.
So if that's how you're picking kids, you got to think some other minor hockey coaches kind of have the same mindset. You're helping out all these kids at Team First. What are you doing at Team First to help them show like that at tryouts?
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Definitely something that I hone in on whenever I talk to the kids on my skates. And it's great that we're talking about, what do we need to do to get on a team? How can I stand out? And again, just what we talked about right now, just hustling to a puck, but that in essence is your effort, right? Are you motivated to work hard? And one thing I talk with the kids a lot about is what's in your control. What's in your control. Again, the best part about development with kids, like we talked about, is you're able to get one message across to let's say 10 to 14 people, and everyone's going to take that in, and you're praying that they go out and execute these things. But you genuinely believe that they're there for you and they believe what you're saying is true, and you're going to be able to help them. You're going to impact them. So again, what's in your control, what your work ethic and your attitude. Those two things right there. Being a good teammate, coming to the rink with a great attitude, hardworking mentality, a team first mentality, and then ultimately, your work ethic, right?
Love it.
Your work ethic. That's in your control. This isn't like a skill thing, so focus on what's in your control. That's the one thing I focus in on with the kids that I coach, aside from the defense training, which is huge. That gives me an opportunity to have these conversations with kids about what's in their control. How can they be a great teammate? That's what matters.
Love it.
Yeah, love that. I kind of send a similar message both to my team and players that I'm working with, that the expectations, they're all things that you can control, because you can't control if you're going to score. You can't control if you're going to win. You just can control all these things that you're talking about: work ethic, attitude. Yeah.
Love it.
Stuff. What else we got here? You got something for him, Grego?
No, that was the most important question for me. I wanted to get Adam's thoughts on how to be a standout player, how to make a team. what he thinks kids need to do to get to the next level. I think he nailed it. That was perfect.
Yeah.
Good. And great branding. Team first. Love it.
Yeah, it's an incredible name. It's
Bob and
on brand
Frank,
with Jako.
brutal.
Like I was saying, just an energy guy. Whenever I had the privilege of working with you in some training groups.
Yeah, you know what? Team first. It just it took me a couple years to think of like what represents me the best. And it's caring about the guy beside you. It's caring about your team. It's caring about the guys you're on the team with. Like, I don't know what more to say, just because of how my team helped me get to where I wanted to be with hockey. Like, that just hits home with me so much more.
Yeah.
This is how I branded myself. This is what this is what I stand for. This is why I'm here. I ask myself this a lot. Why are you here? Why am I coaching hockey? Like, why? Is this just for fun to pay some bills, or am I trying to genuinely make an impact on society with kids? You know what I mean? Leave a legacy, whatever it is. Like, there's so much more to it than just the on ice. You know, you're helping people trying to be better people.
Sure.
I think that means more than anything, especially in 2025. So
love the consistent message. We just had an interview before you. Yeah, clip it. It's so much more than hockey. Love that there's good people like you and like our last guest, Camp Poli, who are out there making an impact and helping develop good people.
Yeah.
You grew up in Toronto, did you not?
Yeah,
Avenue Road, big Otter Creek guy.
Avenue Road in Lawrence. Then we moved to Etobicoke.
Unreal. You had to have grown up a Leaf fan. Grego and I have been going off that this is our year.
Dude,
you're shaking your head no. How are you feeling about the core?
No, let's just talk about what it was like to grow up as a Leaf fan.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah.
Hold on. Let's talk. Let's go like 1999 to 05. You know, like.
Remember when the power play? Remember when the power play was Cabriolet D to McCabe, and you just took a bomb from the blue line? It's like you don't need to set up any 1-3-1. Just Cabriolet is going to fake a shot for the 1,000th time and just slide it over to McCabe, and McCabe lets a bomb go.
Just hunch over on that mini stick and give it to McCabe's Easton SL. What a time that was!
It was just such a different time, man. Like, the game was different. Whenever the Leafs would win a round, Yonge Street was going crazy. You know what I mean? Everyone had a Leaf flag on their car.
Yeah.
You know, like if you wanted to watch a practice, you go to Lakeshore Lions Arena. You just walk in. I did that as a child. You just stand where they'd leave, and guys like Matt Sundin are signing your stuff. Like, it was just so open. You do whatever you want. It's just like there was no security.
I know.
World's changed. That's why I wanted to bring it up too. It's just like where we are now and where we were then. As a young person liking the Leafs, like, it was so much cooler back then.
I see it with all the kids that are not as heavily invested in Leafs. Yeah, they love Matthews. They love all the skill plays type of thing, but it is all in their heads. All these kids that are going year after year, like, oh, like the Leafs suck or whatever it is. And we're talking about an era where we're all kids growing up. It's the springtime. The Leafs are knocking out the Sens. They're knocking out the Islanders. They're playing in 2 conference finals. And every day after school, you're playing ball hockey on the street. And then you're going in and watching the Leaf playoffs. And then you're going to school the next day. All you're doing is talking about the Leafs playoff game. And it's just on repeat year after year. It builds something. And then on the other hand, what we've seen, you're building a different type of fan culture amongst the youth. Tough.
It's different.
Hate to see it.
It's different now. And I always ask the kids who their favorite player is or who their favorite team is. All the young kids now, it's just like, I like McDavid. I like the Oilers. I like Eichel. I like the Golden Knights. I like, you know what? I like, they don't even like the Leafs anymore.
Step it up, Blue.
There's so much access to, through videos and highlights and everything else and social media. There's so much access to all the teams now that it wasn't like Jacko was talking about, where or like you're talking about, we're all Leaf fans. We go home, watch the Leaf game. Like that's gone.
Is what it is, man.
Yeah.
You hate to see it. It's a very valid point you bring up. I think that's a good way of answering the question, but I still think this is our year. Can't wait to see it in June, the Leafs playing. That'll be incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Stanley Cup Finals.
Could be golfing in April. We'll see.
Could be golfing in April.
Oh,
well, we appreciate your time. I know you're just snapping it around rink to rink. I'm sure you got a couple of afternoon sessions that you're prepping for. Thanks again for coming on. Hopefully we can do it again and maybe talk some off-season training. Maybe get you on in the spring, summertime and talk about what's going on with summer camps and team first development.
Yeah, that's be good. That's be good.
We love sharing drills on here. I think it'd be nice to have some D drills, put on a little clinic for the audience.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, just give away my ideas.
100%.
Oh yeah.
We got to make everybody better.
Take them, get better.
Love it. Thanks a lot, Adam. That was great, man.
Thanks, Coach. Boys, great job. Love what you're doing here. Keep helping people learn the game better.
Appreciate it. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care.
Beauty.
Thanks, guys.